Thank you very much. I'm Giordana Francia. I am the director of programs in Italy and the European Union of CISP, International Committee for Development of People. Is an Italian NGO born 40 years ago. And thank you very much. I'm very proud to be here in this big conference addressed to Greek teachers on SDGs, 17 SDGs in school. And in these 15 minutes, I'm going to present a particular initiative named GET, it's Global Education Time, from school curricula to youth actions for sustainable development. And I want, first of all, to thank all the organizers of the conference and the Amorphosis, especially to give me this opportunity to present this initiative, also taking place in Greece. Just a general overview, as you can see here, we have all the logos of the partners of the GET project. And in Greece, we have as partner the organization The Amorphosis and the municipality of Castoria. The project is taking place in 8 countries. Here you can see a general overview. The project started in December 2023 and will end in June 2027. And the partnership is based in 8 European countries, as you can see, in Bulgaria, in the Czech Republic, in Greece, of course, in Ireland, in Italy, in Portugal, in Spain, and in Poland. And we have 12 partners, generally speaking, and 44 associated partners from 4 continents. The project is co-founded by the DEAR program by European Commission. The DEAR program means Development, Education, and Awareness Raising. And is a program existing since 1978 and is a program that wants to promote and enables active engagement of EU citizens, especially young people, in development issues and addressing global challenges at local and global levels. And let's say that it's also very important vehicle to promote European values such as equality and solidarity among people of the world. Since COVID, this program has been very a priority for European Commission because it links also to the interconnection that all the part of the world's experiment, let's say. The GET project objectives, are to contribute to a more inclusive society. We have developed sense of shared responsibility for local and global sustainable development and global crisis. And the project want to contribute to this general objective, focusing mainly on 4 main topics, very central in the 2030 agenda. And these topics are gender inequalities, migrations and international inequalities, goal 10, and climate change, ecological crisis. So the specific objective of the project is especially devoted to formal education systems in the 8 European countries. And so GET endeavors for enhance the capacity of the education system in 8 European countries through the integration of global citizenship education and education for sustainable developments, because are very related. We have a lot of transformative education and addresses especially to teachers, youth, civil society organization, and local and national authorities, and also to their related communities, in order they be more actively engaged in sustainable development actions. The GET project want to incorporate global citizenship education in formal education system through 6, let's say, key elements, let's say 6 strategies. The first one is the production and capitalization of curriculum relevant teaching and learning materials. The idea is that we have to talk and to study about global issues, not just a few hours in our teaching hours, but in a way that is very curriculum relevant. Disciplines are relevant to understand social change, global changes. So the resources, the didactic resources are very related to the curricula, school curricula in each of the 8 countries. Then, of course, one other key element is training and support teachers in incorporate global citizenship education in their teaching and learning process with their students. And then, of course, there is a strategy related to social media communication campaigns to disseminate teaching and learning materials, so a sensitization campaign in order to build a European and international community of teachers committed to this kind of transformative education. And another key element is the active involvement of students in learning process and as active citizens in the communities, as we will see through participatory and learning learners-focused methodologies. Students should be protagonists of their learning process, and as a part of the educational part, there are also youth actions and their roles, the role of youth in sensitizing their communities on the global issues they are working on. Then also the advocacy targeting education authorities based on surveys and evidences. Let's say that it's important also to ensure and improve integration of GC in school curricula through the active role of the educational authorities. So it's a bottom-up approach, but also work on educational authorities. And finally, also providing some assessment and evaluation systems related to GCE, designed specifically for school. How can we say if GCE teaching and learning works, and how we can learn from our work and lessons learned. So the idea is that the action will enhance the capacity of the formal education system in 8 European countries in order to support students and teachers to develop a sense of responsibility for local and global sustainable development and the 4 global challenges through the application of global citizenship education. And the critical understanding of students and teachers is developed through the use of curriculum relevant teaching and learning materials focused on the SDGs, the 4 SDGs we have chosen, the 4 global challenges I mentioned before. And also while the active engagement of students is stimulating by supporting them to actively engage in their learning process in order to comply with the target 4.7. And also the project, as I have said, aims to create a space for evidence-based dialogue between the stakeholders with power to strengthen the integration of GCE in the formal education sector. So the target are teachers, education authorities, CSOs, and also education scholastic publishers. So in a very quick overview, the target of the project are teachers and students from 11 to 19 and youth, mainly youth activists from 15 to 30 and the educational authorities. The stakeholders, the people we want to work to reach this objective are, of course, youth group, movement and associations, but also national platforms committed with the GCE and SDGs, but also scholastic publishers, local authorities, and university. In order to achieve this result, global citizenship education better integrated in new schools curricula, active engagement of students through a transformation of global learning into actions, active citizenship action, and of course, improvement of GC policies and practices among EU institutions and CSOs. Which are the main activities? As we can see, the activities related to teachers, our target is around 100,000 teachers in the 8 countries, are teaching and learning materials through the updating of existing ones, but also developing new learning units on migration, global inequalities, gender inequalities, and climate change. And these resources are also addressed to teachers who have not so much experience in global citizenship education in order to support them. Also an assessment suite on how we know that we are doing global citizenship education, which are its principles and methodologies and perspectives. And of course, national teachers training. Each country is supposed to deliver, and this training is also part of this kind of strategies, a teacher's training on these issues, and also training of the future teachers on Agenda 2030 and GC. The project aims also to test its materials in more peripheral schools, not only very central and active schools, but also to reach schools that are usually less reached by this kind of activities. And in order to address the public policies on global citizenship education, the project aims to implement some researches in order to have evidence-based strategies. And we are implementing in each country a research on impact of GCE national strategy, what's happening, which are the main results, which are the opportunities and also the weaknesses of the implementation of these strategies. And the research, there will be also a research implemented in each country and at European level on mapping in the existing curriculum in the 8 countries, school curriculum, the opportunities for studying and develop a critical thinking on global issues. So where is this space in the existing school curricula? And also in the school books, school textbooks, especially on history textbooks, when we can improve in order to include and incorporate a global citizenship education perspective in training materials addressed to schools and students. And of course, we will present the results of these researches that are now in work in process to the national and local educational authorities through multi-stakeholder workshops. And then, of course, another target is our students. And because students are supposed to implement youth action based on what they have learned at school through the teaching and learning materials and activities focused on the 4 global issues. And we also have the opportunity to participate in a youth action based on the production of new Wikipedia pages on sustainable development. They are going to have some workshop with Wikipedia trainers in order to develop new contents addressed to other young people in order to sensitize them on sustainable development. And then, of course, communication and dissemination is under construction a project website with English and with a country section, and we will upload on the website the didactic materials and all the resources for schools. And of course, we will have also a European dimension related to the exchange among key actors of global citizenship education of the 8 countries through international multi-stakeholder conferences. And we take part in this conference teachers, policymakers in educational policies, and CSOs, educators, for example. Oh, let me see. I go to the, okay. Which are the gap premises? I just want to focus on a couple of them. One is that critical understanding of students and teacher is developed through curriculum-relevant teaching and learning materials. We know that the main constraint faced by teachers is how to integrate GCE in classrooms. And also another constraint is the lack of time. So the action envisages particular support for teachers producing concrete materials and assessing materials, because teachers also need to assess what they do. And some educational materials are ready to use for teachers. And also, of course, the project envisages a coaching for teachers in order to better use the materials in class in terms, of course, of contents, but also methodologies and, of course, assessing. Another big premise is that the protagonism of students, that is a focus on all the transformative and the participatory educations, is stimulated by supporting them to actively engage in their learning process. And the learning process happens in schools, in classroom, but also through some reality tasks, let's say, that are youth actions. So what can I do in order to sensitize others on these issues, and in order to engage also myself with these global challenges. And so the project wants to facilitate, let's say, the dialogue and the relationships between formal education and youth activism. It's not like a separate thing, but to very interrelated aspects. Nevertheless, the project, when we talk about GC project in schools, we also talk about some major issues and in education. So the project, the GET project, is just an example on how we can deal with some major educational challenge. And first of all, we are in the framework of the target 4.7 of the 2030 agenda that you already perfectly know. And just to repeat, maybe it's good to repeat, but by 2030, ensure that all learners, not just students, but all learners, acquire knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development, including, among others, through education for sustainable development, sustainable lifestyles, human rights, gender equality, promotion of a culture of peace and non-violence, global citizenships, and appreciation of cultural diversity and of culture's contribution to sustainable development. So here we have the space for all transformative educations in order to reach this target. And let me say that its target, that is a target of the overall objective, quality education, is a goal per se, but also a mean, a central mean in order to reach the Agenda 2030 goals. So it's the key means in order to change the culture, the perception, and the understanding of global challenges. Given the importance of this target, we have plenty of international actors already involved in this. And just to give you some example, we have a lot of competencies framework that you teachers know very well. And one, for example, is the global competency dimensions defined by the Organization for Economic Cooperation for Development. And so it's a competence framework. Of course, these frameworks have different perspectives sometimes, but they are in the general framework of transformative education. And then we can see also the commitment of UNESCO, delivering a lot of manuals on how to focus our teaching and learning on topics and learning on global citizenship education topics and learning objectives manual, and also on how to bring in our classes the Sustainable Development Goals through learning objectives and contents and interesting input. So the UNESCO is the body enrolled to monitor the implementation of the target 4.7 in the different world countries. And of course, we have, for example, European Commission. This project, GET project, is one of the many projects financed by the European Commission for public awareness on Agenda 2030, but also European Commission produced another general framework of competence, this one, Green Comp, the European Sustainability Competence Framework, more focused on education for sustainability. I mean, are different concepts depending on the tradition of the countries, but as I told you, is in the general framework of transformative competencies. In this framework, we have 12 competencies and 4 dimensions, so we can refer and choose among different framework of competencies, but also to show the role of so many international actors on this issue of global citizenship education and education for sustainable development, informal education systems. Another big issue in education is related, of course, to the general target, to the general goal number 4, that is ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So we cannot speak about GCE in formal education system and not to speak about the situation of education systems. And this publication by UNESCO in 2021 is Reimagining Our Futures Together, a new social contract for education, points out how education across the world continues to fall short of the aspiration we have for it. So there is a sort of crisis of global learning, and in this publication is stressed how the massive spread of school dropouts can be explained by a number of factors, including the lack of relevance, for example, of educational content, the lack of attention to the specific needs of girls and the economic condition of the poor, the lack of cultural sensitivity and relevance. Youth maybe sometimes don't find relevant what we teach in schools, and the inadequacy of pedagogical methods and processes that are unsuited to the realities of youth, very concerned also with global challenges. And this is considered by UNESCO a largely neglected dimension of what many have called, let's say, a global learning crisis. So a part of the world has a lack of access to education, formal education system, but this is compounded by a crisis of relevance in the countries where youth have a larger access to education. So all the transformative education, such as global citizenship and education for sustainable development, are dealing also with these challenges. And then another big challenge the project want to deal with is the sometimes disconnection between young people's desire for knowledge, participation in activism, and the education system. It's a question mark. I mean, it's a question put on the table, but we always had in mind what Greta Thunberg said during the first climate strikes. And it was, my teachers are divided. As people, they think what I'm doing is right, but as teacher, they say I should stop. So this separation between youth activism and what we learn at school. And youth are living in a world crisis, the climate crisis, the collapse of economic systems, the increase in internal and external inequalities, and in relation to gender, the increase in conflicts that are also geographically close together. Worldwide, teenagers grapple with a sense of crisis before adulthood, due a combination of social, economic, technological, and ecological pressure. And so, while school may sometimes turns protest into mere appearance, educators have the potential to mentor sometimes young protests and activism in understanding social change. As Piotr Kobzan of the University of Gdańsk, who studies social and youth movements, say, the extent to which children are prepared for public participation and engage in post-protest activities will ultimately determine the educational value derived from street protest or other form of or activism. So the GET project, I mean, is included in all these big challenges, and I hope to have been in the Times. And just to briefly explain, and I want to thank you. I hope to see you in the GET project challenges. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Giordana. Thank you. It was very interesting. The presentation was very interesting, and it seems that for the next 3 years, since it's global education time, citizenship will be one of our main subjects. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.